history's greatest ever theft. This from Gary Curtis.
June the 6th, 1944, D-Day. The Western Allies storm ashore in northern France, secure a bridgehead in Nazi-occupied Europe, and begin the drive to Berlin. With the Russians sweeping across Poland, the war in Europe is entering its final phase. The Third Reich's overlords prepare their getaway, with an astonishing hoard of treasure to finance their plans. Gold and art treasures systematically looted from occupied countries, along with personal accounts and belongings, including the gold, jewellery and private wealth of the Holocaust victims, has been collected in Berlin at the Reichsbank. Some of this will be shipped to Switzerland at the closing stages of the war, where it will be uncovered by relatives of Holocaust victims half a century later. The rest the Germans tried to hide in Bavaria, in the German Alps, buried in secret caches. One man has spent nearly a quarter of a century trying to track down the loot, British businessman Ian Sayer, defying obstruction and officialdom, allegations of murder, even death threats in the process. This month sees the publication of a revised edition of his explosive book, Nazi Gold, the definitive account of an extraordinary time and place, American-occupied post-war Bavaria, and the characters who inhabited it. Scouring the world, he tracked down hundreds of American and German military personnel who served in Bavaria in 1945.
And I mean, I ended up sort of tracking down people to South America, you know, ex-SS people, you know, then tracing them back to Spain and, you know, Austria and places where they'd gone to, and going around, you know, going and visiting the place where these things happened, actually finding places where the treasure was stored.
With the war over and the Stars and Stripes flying over Bavaria, fraternization between US troops and Germans begins. A thriving black market blossoms between former enemies, often fueled, according to Sayer, by Reichsbank treasure, which starts turning up in deals between Germans and Americans. Fortunes are made overnight, and according to Sayer, US and German troops of all ranks start helping themselves to whatever gold they can find, before the authorities move in. Then the story gets even murkier.
I have good reason to believe that Nazi gold was being used by American covert operations to obviously to counter the communist threat.
An official body was set up, the Tripartite Commission, to restore stolen Nazi loot to its rightful owners, but it was too late. It seemed the Reichsbank gold had disappeared amidst the ruins of Germany, conveniently forgotten by the authorities until Sayer started his investigations. Investigations that brought death threats and even a crude attempt to implicate him in a murder.
It's very well for people to sit there and say, look, I mean, well, are you really worried about these old Nazis? But it's not the old, you know, yes, a lot of them are sort of getting on and, you know, the SS guys are sort of 70, 80, 90 or whatever. Those aren't the people you have to worry about. It's the people that hold them in high esteem, you know, who sort of, you know, still frequent Germany now, the people that sort of still revere these people and look on it as if you're assailing some of their heroes.
Amazingly, Sayer even managed to find 2 gold bars from the original Reichsbank's hoard, in of all places, the Bank of England, recovered by the Tripartite Commission and inexplicably only revealed in May 1997 at the height of the Swiss Nazi gold scandal. The US State Department has set up a commission of professional historians to examine the issue, and 50 years on, the investigation that surrounds history's greatest robbery may finally be closed.